Okay. I feel like we've been talking for 30 minutes.
We have been.
We have been.
It's a testament to what good people and friends we are, right? So today, Cathy, just say hi so they know your voice.
Hello there.
It's Cathy, Tracy,
Hello.
and Margaret.
Hi.
And we're just going to chit-chat maybe about, I don't know, we were talking about black men before we started this. Is that a good way to start?
Sure.
I was talking about, anyway, the most pursued, and the most pursued I ever was as a single girl was by a black guy. Where he was, I've never been wooed like that ever. Have any of you had that experience?
Not by a black man, but the black men who I had any interest in weren't such wooers.
They weren't?
They
You like the hard to get
weren't.
ones?
What?
You like to chase them. You like the hard to get ones.
It was more of a hard to get situation. I think that maybe that's why it was more attractive.
Yeah.
Probably, right?
Well,
Anyway.
I was saying before that, you know, maybe the black men were wooing because the sisters held them to a higher standard and they had to work harder for him.
I think
Who
that's
knows?
a really good point.
Who knows?
That's probably why. But yeah, I had this guy who I went to, our neighbor in Atlanta was Curtis Mayfield. Anybody know who Curtis Mayfield is, right? You don't know who Curtis Mayfield is?
Mayfield.
People get ready.
Oh, yeah,
There's
yeah,
a
yeah.
train. You're right. Terrible.
See, and I thought he
singing
was
voice.
a boxer, so.
You did? You did? No, that's a different Mayfield.
another Mayfield, right?
There's another Mayfield
Okay.
that's a boxer.
I'm half right.
Mayweather. That's Floyd Mayweather.
Floyd
Yeah, I'm
Mayweather.
totally wrong then. Never
Oh,
mind.
it's boxer, musician, same thing. But Curtis was our neighbor in Atlanta, and he got a Lifetime Achievement Award at the Grammys, and he invited me as a guest. I didn't know him very well, and I was living in New York, and the Grammys were in New York. So he was like, come to the Grammys. So I did, of course, because
Yeah.
It's the Grammys.
because it's the Grammys. And I was walking to the bathroom, and this guy followed me to the bathroom and was waiting for me when I got out of the bathroom and stopped me. He was like, you are the most beautiful woman I have seen here all night. Can I take you to dinner? And I was so taken aback because, first of all, he was an enormous black guy. He was a really big guy, bald head. He was a drummer. And he was, and he was like twice my age. So I didn't really know how to react, but I was like, sure, of course, you can take me to dinner, sure. And we exchanged numbers, and I thought, I'll never hear from that guy again, right? Went to all the Grammy parties, did all the Grammy stuff. He called me the next day. I live in California. I'm going back to California. Can I take you to dinner tonight? I was like, yeah, okay. Meet at this restaurant. I don't even remember the restaurant, but he showed up with a pair of shoes for me.
Wow.
Shoes?
So he had guessed my shoe size and purchased a pair of shoes for me, and they were the most beautiful shoes I had ever had in my
God, that
entire
sounds
life.
like something you'd see on
Were they
freaking
heels?
Criminal Minds or something. That's just freak me. That would freak me out.
It did. It was odd. It was really odd, I have to say. But they fit.
Did
they
they
were my.
fit?
They fit. They were my size.
Okay,
What
that's
kind
a
of
little
shoes?
They were slip-on heels, like tongs, but thongs, or however you say that, but heels, and they had jewels all over the top of the foot. But they were like 1-inch heels, and they were the most
How old
beautiful.
were you?
He clearly, I was 23.
Okay, you were of age at least.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was 23. So I was like, those are the nicest. And at the time, I was living in New York, eating spaghetti like 4 nights a week because I couldn't afford to live there. So I was like, those are the most amazing shoes I've ever seen. Had this beautiful dinner at this really nice restaurant, and then he flew back to California, and I thought, never hear from him again. Next time he comes to New York, can I take you to dinner again? Showed up again with this beautiful hat, this beautiful scarf, and took me to a really nice dinner.
That just gave you the
He was
chills.
so gentlemanly. He was the most.
Yeah.
He was the most gentleman pursuer I ever had. He was just lovely. This went on for like a year and a half. I didn't see him very often.
And you had an entire wardrobe by the end of your relationship.
Right.
Like
He
what?
did keep bringing me. One time he bought me a ring, and I always wondered if it was real because it's like covered in diamonds with a big diamond in the middle. But he produced Whitney Houston's like first 4 albums and Mariah Carey's first album. He's a really big music producer, but he started out as a drummer.
What's his name?
Narada, Michael
Oh,
Walden.
yeah, I know him.
You know Narada?
Yes.
Oh my
He
gosh.
lives up
In Northern California. He's a good friend of my ex-boyfriend's. Yes.
No way.
Yes. That's
He was
so
the
funny.
nicest man.
Yeah.
That's crazy, Margaret.
crazy.
I can't believe you know him.
Yeah.
That's so bizarre.
That's
yeah,
freaky.
It
It's
was
a small
Narada.
world.
Yes.
Yeah, he asked me to come live with him after like a year and a half. Come up to Northern California. Come live with me. And I said to him,
What year was this?
this was like 93, 94, 95, 96, 97. He kept coming and going.
Were you dating him? Like,
No,
were
not
you
really.
Communicating with him in between these visits, or
Yes and no. I mean, we would call and talk to each other, but I never had any kind of intimate relationship with him. It was just dating.
You know what?
What?
I'm wondering if that's when I was with my ex-boyfriend.
Yeah.
And I knew him.
Yeah.
And so isn't that weird that at the time I knew him that he was wooing you?
That is
and then we
crazy.
end up friends.
That's
here.
amazing, Margaret.
I gotta do the math and see if that's right.
That would be really crazy.
Yeah. So where is he? He's like still around? Is he?
Yeah.
He's married. He asked me to come live up there. He didn't really ask me to move in with him. He's like, come move here. I'll help you move here.
closer.
And I said, you know what? You are such an overwhelming and powerful personality. I'm afraid I would lose myself. I'm not mature enough I'm not mature enough to handle that in a relationship. I just don't think that I can do that. And I'm not mature enough. And
That was a
he's-
really mature thing to know that you weren't mature enough.
he
though.
was just so larger than life.
Wow.
I mean, he was a really sweet man too. He's really sweet. I don't know your experience of him, but for me, he was generous and the sweetest man.
Generous.
was he much older than you?
Yeah, he's
Oh,
a good bit older. So I just one day was thinking about him and I thought, well, I'll give him a call and see how he's doing because I didn't want to like never talk to him again. And I called him and he said the most amazing thing happened. I met the woman of my dreams. I was walking down the street and I saw her having coffee in a coffee shop and I sat down and started talking to her and we're getting married. I was like, that's amazing.
Fantastic.
That's so great.
So when was the last time you talked to him?
It's been a while. It's probably been 16 years. Long time. It was right after I moved here in 97. I probably was in touch with him for the next year
Oh, that's crazy.
or so. That is just crazy, Margaret.
Yeah,
because
because I see that he sometimes comments on, we're friends on Facebook, my ex-boyfriend and I. So then I think he has made comments too. So I know he's on Facebook. So you guys could.
I'll have to look him up.
I
Yeah.
have to look him up.
How crazy. How crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
That's really crazy.
Yeah.
That's a small world.
That
Yeah.
is a small world. So, yeah, that's a small
From
world.
Atlanta to New York to Northern
San
California
Francisco, Marin County, I think you
to
lived
Los
in.
Angeles.
Yeah.
That's a small world.
That's a small world.
to our
Margaret.
little bubble.
Yeah,
To our
right?
little
To Valley
bubble.
Village.
Right? Crazy. How funny. I'll have to look him up on Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a long time. I haven't even thought about him for a
Yeah.
while. I don't know. I guess we just got on the topic before the mics turned on about,
The types we are drawn to.
the types we're
men.
drawn to. Yes.
Yes.
Which I was saying in our kitchen, I dated guys that looked like Luke Perry. But every time I would watch a movie, I wasn't attracted to those guys. I was
Right.
attracted to Tom Berenger and my Uncle George, who looks just like Bert. And I, for whatever reason, just kept dating Luke Perry.
Oh, how funny.
And then all of a sudden, I had met Bert and I went, he's kind of okay. Let's see
Right.
how this goes. 2 dates tops, and then I'm out of here. I'm not going to date a comic.
What cracked me up was when you said, "Yeah, I like my guys like my uncle. I married Bert, and he never wears a shirt." That was like the first thing you said.
Yeah.
Doesn't wear a shirt. That's the definition of Bert.
Yeah, I don't remember. My memories of my uncle they're no shirt ever, unless it's the winter.
And that's
Never
very
wear a shirt.
Southern because, like, it's not cool in our village, like, for a guy to be walking outside without a shirt, right? Is that my perception?
No, Benny says it all the time. Oh my God, the guy doesn't have a shirt on. I'm like, yeah, but it's,
So
I guess
what?
growing up in the 70s,
Yeah.
that happened a lot. No shirts
yeah.
and those little, the men wear those little tiny shorts and
Those little
stuff.
shorts, yeah.
But now you don't see it. The men wear the long,
Yeah.
and they wear shirts. I don't know.
I saw some kids walking down the street the other day, and 2 of them didn't have shirts on. I thought, what are they doing?
Right.
Where are they going? Why don't they have any clothes on?
Isn't that funny? We never wore shirts. Well, I wore shirts, but boys never wore shirts or shoes anywhere. And Isla never wears shoes anywhere. And every time we go somewhere, she goes, people go, where are your shoes? Like, oh my God, you're definitely going to catch some kind of disease or something. But we never did when we were kids.
Right.
We're pretty fortified, right?
And it's funny because it seems like socially we've gotten so much more progressive and non-discriminatory, yet we're looking at people without shirts going, what are you doing?
I know. It is kind of crazy.
Right?
I think we've backed up in our conservatism. Like
in weird ways.
in ways that doesn't really matter that a guy doesn't have a shirt on.
Or Viola's not wearing shoes.
Or Phila's not wearing shoes.
And there's something about the grounding that they talk about with people. We should not wear shoes as
energy
much.
from the earth.
Right? Mm-hmm. So she probably feels it. Like, this
You're
feels
probably
better
right.
to me.
Yeah, well, Bert gets off a plane, walks in the house, drops his bags, takes his shoes off, and walks around in our front yard for like 10 minutes every time.
Wow.
Because he feels like that, like, grounds him.
Right.
Like he's got to have his
And
feet in the
he needs
grass.
that.
Yeah, he does. He does a little bit.
And there's certain mats you can buy now, grounding mats. You can like
Really?
imitate
Really?
that.
Why
I'm
didn't we
not
think
buying
of
it.
that?
I know, right?
Right?
Right? Why didn't we think, oh, hey, let's put grounding mats on this yoga mat?
Right.
People will buy it.
Right.
They would. Right?
Right.
Totally. Well, I guess yoga is grounding.
And you can
In and
sleep
of
big
itself.
mats you can
So
sleep
maybe-
on too.
Really?
Really? This is a whole different economy we're
And
missing
we were
out
going
on.
to talk about getting kids into high school.
I know, right? I told you it never goes right. It's so funny. I was about to say the reason all of us, for people who are listening, we are all friends because we all have 8th grade girls. And all of our 8th grade girls have been in Girl Scouts together since 2nd grade.
Well, didn't we all go to Colfax together from like kindergarten to
No,
first grade?
no.
Except for me, I'm the
That's
outcast.
right. That's
And
right.
Georgia moved
we like
in
you though.
2nd
That's
grade. Georgia wasn't there till 2nd grade.
Okay.
So the 4 of us
Yeah.
are connected
Yeah.
through 2nd grade Girl Scouts. And we have been hunting for high schools. And I don't think it's like this anywhere else in the country.
I hope not.
So I hope not.
Right.
too.
God bless them. Yeah. No one
Maybe
else should
New
have to go
York.
through this.
Maybe New York,
Maybe
you think?
New York.
Or Chicago or like big major. Well, I wonder if it's that way in San Francisco.
Probably.
I don't know.
Is it, Margaret?
I don't know that world because I didn't live there as a mom.
Right.
You know.
Right.
But I think it is a little bit if
Similar.
private people want to go to the privates.
So for people who don't live here, a lot of elementary schools, like local elementary schools, are really great. And then the middle schools, less are great, but still great public, all public. But then you get to high school, it gets a little bit different. Like there are so few public high schools that are really good that you are forced to kind of cast a wider net. And it is like, I feel like we've been looking for colleges. It's the most exhausting, ridiculous process on the planet. You know, I got on the bus and went to the school. There was one school in my town. There was no other option. That's just where you went to school. And I turned out pretty okay. But I tried that. We went to homecoming to our local school, and I was like, yeah, I'm not sending my daughter to this school. I can't do it. The homecoming court, Margaret. The homecoming court. You were there too.
The best part of that was us trying to make it seem like it was okay
Right.
for our kids.
Right?
That it was.
By the way, that's my alma mater.
Well,
I think it was
And there's
when
no
you were
way in
there-
hell my girl's going there.
Yeah, right?
changed a little bit.
They have some, different segments of the school that seem better than maybe others. Like when they call it general population, all I think of is bars and orange suits. So that itself is kind of concerns me.
Totally.
But yeah, that for me, all our kids are different and unique. And I think because we have a lot of options, it's great.
Right.
But the pressure it puts on us in terms of finding the exact right school for our kids is crazy.
It's ridiculous.
And then even if we don't put it on our kids, was like with my daughter, I was like, it'll work out. Don't worry about it. And all of a sudden she comes home. She's like, oh my God, Mom, I haven't interviewed anywhere. And where have you applied for school? And my friends have all gone to 5 or 6 schools already. And I was so behind. I hadn't even realized it.
Right.
And y'all were already like, 8 schools in. You already
4 tests in.
Yeah,
right?
you were
Right.
already like in
Testing.
the process. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah, I know. Bert showed up at the 11th hour for me because George and I went to all these tours and did all the stuff we were supposed to do. And she just wants to go to one school. That's the only school she's interested in. And we have a backup school. But Bert was like, why aren't you applying everywhere? Why aren't you applying here and there? And I thought, let's all just calm down just a minute. Why would I apply somewhere she's never going to go? That's a waste of her time, the school's time, our money, and it takes someone else's spot. I don't want to do that like at Notre Dame. He's like, but you need a backup.
But that's rational, Leanne. I'm rational Cathy sometimes, but I also have like 3 other personalities when it comes to the school business.
Well, who are they? Please define these other 3 personalities.
It depends on, what minute it is, but one of them is, okay, look, our kids went to public school. They're great. They're all super smart girls. They're going to be fantastic. Elementary school doesn't really matter. Middle school matters a little tiny bit. High school matters a little bit. College, that matters, but not like grad school. You want to go to a really good grad school to be able to network.
Jesus, she's already talking about grad
and
school.
do
I
what you
know.
want to do. So no matter where they go, they're going to be fine.
So which Cathy is talking now?
So this is rational Cathy.
Okay.
No matter where they go, they're going to be fine. They can all probably go to our little local high school, and as long as they don't get arrested or pregnant, they're going to be okay.
That may apply at all schools. Let's hope.
Very
I don't know.
true.
Those all-girl schools get pretty crazy.
Public or private. And then there's the most often me, which is, okay, we're going to check out all of our options. We're going to let you pick your favorite, which is reasonable and that we can afford, and we're going to apply there and have a couple backup plans, which we've done almost ad nauseum, more so. And then there's me who wakes up on the last day of submissions and is freaking out and applies to like an extra school just in case she doesn't get in, as you called it, my Hail Mary.
Yeah, you're Hail Mary. That's right. That's right.
So we have about 5 schools that may or may not work.
Right.
See, you guys are applying to schools that are hard to get in, like Notre Dame. Notre Dame doesn't care if you apply there because they know there are 1,000 other kids behind you. And if you miss a date, they say, oh, I'm sorry, you don't care enough to get in. I mean, they've turned people away. They're
Correct.
super, super impressed with themselves.
And that's her number
Yeah.
one choice.
And that's where she wants to go. So you have to have a backup because there are odds there. Elizabeth has a school she wants to go to. She didn't take an entrance exam. She took a placement test.
Yeah,
There's
same.
a difference. They're
There
going
is
to
a
take
difference,
her.
yeah.
That's the only school she wanted to go to. Thank God my job was over.
Right.
I was super relieved. But for you, yeah, you're applying to schools that are super competitive. You have to.
God, why does she like that school? I mean, I like it too. I just wish it wasn't so competitive.
Right.
And I love her number 2. Her backup is going to be
George's
great.
number 1.
It's
Yeah.
George's number 1. But we also have to figure out how to get them there 30 minutes away.
Yeah.
In LA traffic, which
Every
could be
day.
an hour and a half, depending on an accident.
It's
Sorry.
very stressful.
And
it's
I
very
can't
stressful
even
for
imagine.
the kids.
Yeah.
It is stressful for the kids. What do you think is the number 1 stress for your daughters right now at 13? What do you think is the number 1 thing that stresses them out?
Oh gosh. Time, maybe homework.
Time management.
Yeah.
Too much.
Those damn cell phones.
I think for Georgia, it's not feeling like her every minute is scheduled. Even though it's really not, I think she feels that way. It makes her feel like she doesn't have any like relaxed time, even though
Yeah.
she does. Like she writes in a journal all the time. But I think she feels like we're just constantly on this hamster wheel of life. And I think that's her number 1 stress. What do you think is their challenge at school? Any challenges they have at school?
Navigating
I think girls, friendships. I think they're trying to figure all that out.
The social aspects. I
Yeah.
think we're all pretty lucky that, our girls have good friends.
Yeah.
And we're very fortunate for that. That's another thing I'm really bummed about the whole high school situation. And that on one hand, we should be fortunate that we have so many choices, but the girls will probably all go to different high schools.
Yeah, they will.
And then we have to start this social roller coaster over again.
Yeah. Yeah, because our girls, there's like a little group of girls that are in show choir. And those show choir girls they seem to be helping each other a lot with homework. They're like networking. What do you have for this answer on this question? And did you finish the science lab? When is it due? And they really support each other. They FaceTime each other and do homework together. And that's gone when we go to high school. I'm like, what a bummer.
Yeah, but
That's
they'll
really
find
great.
other kids to do that with. They
but
will.
It is cool that they have it. It'd
Yeah.
be nice if it would just continue on. They just keep on going.
What about the other stress at school, like the boy stress? And I know that there was recently a kid expelled from school.
Yeah, I heard about
for
that.
doing things that he shouldn't have been doing.
I didn't know. I didn't hear that.
I heard about it last night.
What did he do?
He was caught vaping, I believe.
Oh. Well, they also caught kids smoking pot. And they didn't kick them out.
Smoking cigarettes.
I think he's a repeat offender.
Oh, I see.
I think he's a little more than just smoking. Mm-hmm. I think for this particular kid,
it's a kid who needs a little more help.
Do you need
with
know
direction?
His name? Don't say
he
it
may
here,
need a
but-
parent.
Do you know who?
Yeah.
Okay.
What? Oh, yeah.
That's the problem. Is that parents aren't
Active.
Yeah,
I don't know about that.
I don't know him personally, but I feel like if that's happening, there's a disconnect somewhere.
Yeah. I don't-
Vaping though, it's not like the end of the world, but who knows what else he had.
Well, yeah, and who knows? I mean, I don't know. I don't know him personally. I don't know his parents, but
No.
I mean, when you pull in a larger socioeconomic group, you've got all the different types of people from all the community. You've got, parents. I remember when Xander went there, he's coming home going, "Mom, what's this mean?" I'm like, "Where did you hear that?" Or, "Mom, did you know this show? Why do you know that?" These kids are exposed to more. We have our bubble. We're all super active parents, for the most part, we know what our kids are watching and doing, right? And we monitor it and we say, no, that's not appropriate. And then you've got all the kids whose parents aren't doing that. Maybe they're both working full time and they don't have the luxury of spending the kind of time that we are able to spend with our kids. So they don't have that.
Right.
And that's hard because then you've got those kids bringing that information in.
Right.
And whether it be vaping or whatever else, it's kind of the terrain.
So in the 8th grade, what were you guys doing? Any bad behaviors from you guys in the 8th grade?
the kids aren't going to hear this, are they?
No.
Not unless Margaret plays it for them going to school.
Right?
Benny wanted to listen, and I thought,
He
maybe we
did.
should ask.
Except
He
for
was
the very
really
beginning.
excited. He really wanted to know all about what was going on
That's
today.
cool. The
Yeah.
middle of it's probably a little more appropriate than the beginning because
Yeah.
Sandy's talking about the microphone as
Right.
Other things.
genitalia.
Yeah.
So,
Tracy.
Just once.
I know. It's a repeat theme. It is kind of phallic.
Come on, it's in your face.
A little bit phallic. Bad behavior, 8th grade?
Yeah.
Yeah? What was your bad behavior?
Well, I'm not gonna say, but
Why?
I went to a Catholic school. And
But do you think that bad behavior would be repeated in your kids?
no, my kids are way, way cleaner than I was.
I wonder if your mom said that.
My mom?
If your mom
said
thought,
that about you.
your mom was so
Like,
busy. She had so many kids. And
My mom
Yeah.
had no idea what I was doing.
No, my mom. No, there's too many kids. And
My
she has
mom
to
was
work.
not speaking to me at the time, so she didn't know what I was doing either. 8th grade, I was a good kid though. My stuff started in 9th grade. When I got to high school, I got in trouble. I started drinking in 9th grade.
Yeah.
Like drinking. So
because your mom wasn't talking to you.
that was part of it. Yeah, my dad was working, till 10 o'clock at night, 6 days a week.
Not a
And,
lot of supervision going on there.
Pretty much none. And, shifting from my mom's house to my dad's house, I thought it was going to be like it was when I went home on the weekends. When I go home every other weekend, I was the complete focus. But when you live with the parent every day, that's not possible. But nobody really tells you that when you're, 13, 14 years old, and you think it's going to be all about me when I get to my dad's house, and all of a sudden I'm doing laundry, I'm cooking meals, it's
Living
just
life.
me and him.
Yeah.
And
Were you like, what the hell? I didn't sign up for this?
oh no, I was so grateful to be there and not in my mother's house. I was so grateful to be where I was. But in hindsight, I look back and go, that transition was not parented pretty much at all. And I just didn't know what to do with myself. So I just ran amok. I mean, I started drinking. I did. I ran amok. I ran amok. I was amok. I started drinking in the 9th grade and lying to my dad to his face in the 9th grade. But I've already told my dad all this, by the way. I've already talked about all this.
We like your dad. Your dad's
He's a
one,
sweetheart.
man.
He's a great dad.
Yeah.
But I don't think he was equipped to have a teenage girl in his house. I'm his only child, and he did not remarry until I was later in high school. So I showed up and I just ran all over him. I mean, I would look him in the face and go, "I'm going to Stephanie's house," and I would go to Jeff's. And he would ask me, I called you at
friends like that.
Stephanie's, and I'd go, I don't know.
I had friends like that. Who else grew up here? Anybody?
No.
Okay, so I grew up here.
Yeah.
And 8th grade, Samantha, my best friend in 7th and 8th grade, dropping acid. Her dad
my
was the
God.
president. Dad was the president of the Cancer Society. Smoked like a chimney. Lied like a sociopath. Like, he would bring home lungs to show her what a cancer lung
Like a real
looked
lung?
Like real
Like a
flippin',
real lung?
Yeah, like a healthy
That's
lung.
disgusting.
Well, I got to tell you, the smoker lungs, more disgusting than the healthy
Yeah.
ones. I mean, they
Ew.
were gnarly. They looked like old shrivel up mushrooms. So anyway, so Samantha, sweet girl, but last time I heard she was in like Camarillo, the psych ward.
in the psych ward.
Yeah, she had some,
Too much
and her
acid.
mother was like
many
the
mushrooms.
wicked witch of the West.
Really?
Talking about like lying and stuff. I don't know if she was just used to Sam lying, but the one time I lost my mind and why I understand why homeless people talk to themselves while they're walking down the street,
Right.
is I cracked with this woman because apparently Samantha hadn't asked her if I could spend the night, but I told my mom I was spending the night there. So when my mom called, she had no idea I was spending the night. So then it was like, oh, your daughter is such a bad influence on my daughter. And I was a straight one. I wasn't doing anything back then, like nothing. I was ballet. I was dancing. That was it. I walked down the sidewalk screaming out loud, talking to this woman because of how she berated
Oh,
and what she
no.
accused me of. And her daughter was like the crazy one. Anyways, I digress. But Sam was dropping acid. My friends were doing Quaaludes at the Sugar Shack, which is
up.
75 cents for Aurora 714s. Was that what they were?
What?
You're
Oh,
asking
yeah,
the girl.
dude.
Talking the wrong girl.
Yeah,
I never did
no.
drugs.
I have no
Parties,
idea.
all the kids were drinking. Now remember,
Right.
a lot of the kids here, their parents were in the industry.
Right.
A lot of free money, a lot of pot smoking around.
Right.
The parents were smoking pots and getting high.
Right.
The parents would be gone on set or whatever, or, to Europe for a month. They'd stay with the flipping nanny or the housekeeper. Parties like you wouldn't believe.
Wow.
And they were all drinking and smoking pot and doing lewds and doing coke. Yeah, that was more like 9th grade, 10th grade.
Right.
But kids were, it was crazy here. Crazy.
I bet. Do you think it's still crazy like that here?
I hear things,
Yes.
but I don't know. I don't, because I don't have.
Our group doesn't have
We don't
those-
do that.
Right.
Yeah.
We don't see it. We don't hear about it. I don't know.
I mean, I
But
hear things,
I'm
rumors
sure
of
there's
others.
things
groups.
around. I probably more so the prescription meds,
Yeah.
and that type of stuff.
That scares me.
Yeah.
That and meth. Meth scares the hell out of me.
What
Meth
about the
scares
heroin problem in Simi Valley?
The hell?
Seriously.
What? There's a heroin problem in Simi Valley?
Black tar heroin in Simi Valley high schools, dude.
What? In the high school?
Yeah. In the high schools.
Simi
Bubble.
Valley is one of those places
Bubble.
where you go to your home high school.
Simi Valley's one of the places you go to your home high school. Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
I think that's like where we grew up. You just go to your high school.
Yeah. Yeah.
But heroin is
Gnarly.
bad, man.
Serious stuff.
My
And
uncle
these
was
kids are
addicted to
just doing it
heroin.
like
It's bad.
nothing. But
It
yeah, a
messes your
lot of
brain
partying
up.
out there. It's crazy.
That's
So there's a lot out there. I mean, in terms of the internet and social media and all that stuff. And, honestly, talk about net neutrality. I'm good with it. If it means that my son can't access porn whenever he wants, that's the big win for me. It scares me to death.
Right. So have you talked to your kids about drugs?
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I mean, not really.
No?
She'll bring it up. Like, she'll say, somebody was smoking pot or something like that, or weed. But it never.
Not really talked about.
No.
We
In
have.
depth.
Probably not enough as we should. I
Right.
think we should probably all talk about it a little bit more.
We had a good sit down discussion about it. I think it was really good because Bert asked me a long time ago. He was like, "What are you going to tell your kids about doing drugs?" Well, that I've smoked pot 4 times and that's it. I did drink a lot, heavily when I was younger, but I have maybe 2 glasses of wine a week. I'm pretty lame at this age. and
Right. Yeah,
stage
you're
in my
not the
life.
drinker in the group.
I am the wife of the party, not the party. So he was like, "Well, what should I do?" And I'm like, "I don't know what to tell you." I mean, he's tried like every drug there is short of heroin and meth and, the really bad stuff. So think 1980, 90,
Yeah.
like those kind of drugs, acid, mushrooms. He's done all that kind of stuff, coke. But how do we talk about it? And I was like, I think we just need to be honest about, as adults, what we understand about drug use for kids their age, right? If you bring it back to your brain is growing until you're 23, and the fact of the matter is you just shouldn't put any of that shit in your body till after you're 23. And then by that point, hopefully they're mature enough to go, yeah, why would I do that anyway? You know? But we kept impressing upon them the fact that your brain is growing and that can permanently change your brain structure. And for what? For a good time? I remember my dad told me about cocaine when I first moved back. He was like, don't ever do cocaine. And I was like, why? He said, this is what happens. You snort it. You be sitting in a circle. You snort it and you pass it to the next guy. And all you can do is watch and wait till it gets back to you. And the whole life becomes, when does it get back to you? And you can't do anything else. Can't hold a job. You can't have a relationship because all you can do is wait for that to come back to you. And I went, peace out. I'm not doing that shit ever. I'll drink all day long, but I don't want to be trapped. Like, it sounded like someone who's trapped.
Yeah.
Beholden to the cocaine.
That you can't, I mean, it was such a visual. It was like you're all sitting in a circle. Who knows where he came up with this in rural Georgia? I don't know how much cocaine was flying around. He probably saw it in a movie.
Just enough for everybody to just share a little bit, apparently, because I've
Pass it
never seen
around.
that scenario in any party.
Just a little bit for everybody. One little bitty crystal. But
Yeah, here I walk into parties when I was like 19, and Rory Sheridan was the big Coke dealer. Hey, Roar.
oh my God.
Big glass table, pile of Coke on it. People just, and I did it a couple times, and I did not like it. Did not like it.
I've never done it.
Smoked pot a couple times. I got all paranoid and freaked out. I'm too much of a control freak to get high.
I smoked pot 4 times. I threw up 4 times. And I went, I don't think my body likes pot. I think I'll pass. Hard pass on that. Yeah. Not for me.
Yeah, here nobody's waiting for the Coke. It's
Nobody's
in the middle of the table, man.
Take your share. Have fun.
It's gnarly. Ugh.
I never did.
So
Coke.
what was the decision on what's Bert going to tell the kids? Like, is he going to
We've
come
already
clean?
talked to him. He was really honest with them, actually. He was like, I've tried everything. So if you ever have any questions, just ask me. Don't take anything from somebody you don't know, ever. Don't go with anybody you don't know, ever, to do anything like that. We haven't really talked to Isla this way. She's a little young. But Georgia's like, Georgia's scared of her own shadow half the time. I can't imagine her, you know.
Or Elizabeth, can you even imagine?
They would be like,
Yeah, well, let's not say that out loud right now. We got a lot of years ahead of us,
right.
Right.
I
You
don't
never know.
That is what's one thing that scares me. Like, meth really, really scares me. I think meth is something that it really is. You are really rolling the dice, I think, when you do meth.
Well,
with
any
whether or
kind of
not you're
drug.
addicted to it.
Anything that's not natural.
I don't know, meth scares
Well,
me.
mushrooms are natural, and you can get addicted to them. Pot's natural.
Well, yeah. But I mean, if they're going to try something, I'd rather try the pot versus the meth or the...
Well, there's a difference between being addicted to a state of mind and being chemically addicted.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. Because you're not really addicted to pot. You're addicted to that altered state of being. Hopefully our kids don't have any, pains or traumas they have to
They have to escape from.
right? They have a pretty sweet life.
Right. Pretty good parents.
They
you know?
do. I don't think they realize that, though.
No.
I mean, of course, they're angsty teenagers.
Oh no, mine are totally persecuted on a daily basis.
Oh, yeah.
By laundry and chores and I have to scoop the dog poop again. I did it yesterday. And I'm like, oh my God, I do it every day in the morning. I just want you to do it in the afternoon.
Do you pay them an allowance?
Hell no. They don't get an allowance. No.
We don't either.
We were just talking about that because my husband said, so where did she get the money to go to the movies again, even though she's already seen it? I was like, oh. That would have been from me. So we were just talking about maybe she won't be so excited to see that movie twice if she has to pay that $20, which is, by the way, ridiculous.
Yeah.
For
The
a
movie
movie.
prices
Oh
are
my God.
ridiculous.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're crazy.
Right.
I don't know. George started babysitting, and she loved it. She loved doing that and earning that money. Gabby babysits.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, so does Elizabeth.
Does she?
Yeah.
That's so good.
And it was interesting. I was so proud of her over, I guess it was Christmas. A friend of mine's mom came out of the hospital, and she texted me, and she said, do you know anybody that can stay overnight with my mother in case, because I want to make sure she doesn't fall. And I said this to my kids, and both my kids raised their hand. They're like, we'll do it. And I thought, wow.
That's
she was
cool.
going to pay him like $40-$50 or something to spend the night. And both of them raised their hand. I'm like,
that's awesome.
But I think it doesn't. I'm not sure if it was because they wanted to help, but that the money, currency is currency for them. Like they want to make money.
At least they're willing to do something for it.
Yeah, right. Because they don't.
Yeah.
So are any of you religious? Like any of your kids go to church?
No.
Anything like that?
They used to.
Yeah.
We did for a while.
For a little while. They're both baptized.
Are they?
Us too.
Yeah, they're both baptized, and they both have their first communion Catholic. I wanted to not so much. I'm not bought into all of the beliefs, but I wanted them to just have a good moral ground. It's more about, these are the right things to do and these are not the great things to do. So let's make a good decision.
Right.
Let's choose wisely.
Right.
Mark is against organized religion, and his parents were too,
Oh, yeah.
pretty much. And my mom was super Catholic, and we had to go to church every Sunday till we were 18. But I have a real problem with a lot of the teachings of the Catholic Church. And I went to, in my class, the boys were taken out by the priests and brought over to the rectory and were molested.
Oh my God.
Right under my nose.
Oh my
And all of our
God.
noses. So...
oh my God.
That's horrible.
Horrible. So
Oh my
I have
God.
a real problem with that.
Well,
and then, some other things, some other rules, and I just can't do it. And I remember that my mom went because she loved the Catholic Church, and she was really Catholic for the right reasons, and it helped her get through her hard life. But then I saw other parents going just because of the social thing to be. They weren't really into it, and I saw them at a young age, and I'm like, you guys are hypocrites, and I can tell already at 9-10 years old you guys are hypocrites,
right?
And I didn't like that, so that would be me. I would be a hypocrite. I'd be going for the wrong reasons. Right. And so I can't, if my kids want to, I'll take them, and we have taken them to Christmas Mass or whatever, and Christmas Eve, but that's about it, just because the rules just don't make sense to me at all, and I can't go with that. So I can't bring my kids to do that. If they want to make their choices, they can.
Well, we don't go to church either, and for me, it's for the same reasons. I can't. I'm not very enthusiastic about organized religion. However, in recent months, I've been thinking. There's part of the church that I grew up. I talked about this on another podcast, so I don't want to bore the listeners too much. But I grew up in a Baptist church also, and the part that I think my kids are missing is like the service piece. Even though they do service for Girl Scouts and stuff, it's a little bit different. Like the church
being of service too.
Being of service, yeah. It's a little bit different than what they do at Girl Scouts. So I've been looking for some way for them to find that, maybe not through religion, but through something that connects them to like there's more going on here than just my life or my family's life.
Definitely a lot of opportunities for that in this area, whether it be the women's homeless shelter and the abused women's shelter and animals or older people or whatever. I mean, it's there.
But we didn't do that, and I feel like I'm very of service now.
Yes, you are.
Yeah,
you totally are.
So I feel like it doesn't really matter if they don't, because they'll get that. They'll figure it out later if they do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And sometimes if we overdo it now, they're not going to want to. We're like, I did that. You know what I mean?
Right.
You don't think so?
What?
Because I think my kids, I mean, they do a lot. I have to give them some credit. They do an awful lot as far as volunteering goes. But I also feel that we live in this bubble, and it's, we have everything that we want, everything that we need. They bitch about unloading the dishwasher. How about not having a dishwasher? Right?
How about you being the dishwasher?
Exactly. So I kind of feel like it's necessary for them to see how fortunate they are and to experience that. Like, we go to the food pantry and we load bags of food for people who don't have food. And here, you can do that all day, every day, and you're still not going to have enough stuff.
I think we get enough of that in our normal life. I think there's a lot of people around me that they see that are not as fortunate as they are. Family, friends, that I don't need to. So I think they see it already in our normal daily life. So
You never know what people observe. We were talking last podcast with Sandy and Cathy. Sandy was a refugee and, lived in a refugee camp for a while. And it was a real struggle to get from Vietnam to here when she was very young. And she's one of the happiest people I know.
Is this Sandy, the lady from like the Christmas party thing?
Yes.
She's awesome.
Yeah, she's amazing.
I really like
Human
her.
being, yeah. So we were talking about maybe we should send our kids to refugee camp because they have it so good that maybe they need like a 2-week refugee camp intensive where you go, you're eating gruel every day and you're sleeping on the ground. And, now maybe next time I say, hey, it's Cyber Free Sunday, we don't have a fit because you just have to turn your phone off for one day. I don't know. It's hard because
the perspective, gaining perspective.
I think they do see a lot. I think walking to the park, you see people who are less fortunate than you.
I think going to the school they go to,
yes,
they see that.
I think it is.
Like the different demographics. We definitely got it in LA, right?
We do, for sure.
I think that the one thing that I point out consistently is you drive by school at 5:30. I said, look at those poor kids still sitting on that yard.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel terrible. Yeah.
Especially on a Tuesday.
Even at Colfax, those little ones are still there at 6 o'clock.
That
5:30.
brings
I'm
it
like,
home to them. They're like, oh, yeah, they're still there. They still have to come home, eat dinner, do their homework, take a shower.
I was that kid, that 6 o'clock kid.
Yeah.
My mom had to work. She was a single mom. She had no family here.
I was that kid.
We did what we had to do. I was a latchkey kid.
I was a latchkey kid,
I was
too.
a latchkey kid, too.
Yeah, I walked home from school every day.
Rode the bus.
You know that
home
some
and
people
walked.
don't know what a latchkey kid is?
They're lucky.
I know.
I was the
Latchkey
only
kid is a
child.
kid who needs to let themselves in their own house
With a key.
there.
Right.
With a
Latchkey.
key. Yeah.
Right.
And I
Yeah.
told my kid, because they asked the other day what a latchkey kid was, and I
funny.
told them about the key, and I said, but we didn't have a key. The door's always unlocked. We didn't lock our doors then,
Right.
And so it's different. Somebody just dropped it. My mom was at work, but we just dropped off at home, and
Right.
we watched TV until she got home. She closed her business at 5:30, so by 5:40 she was home. So at 5:30 my sister came around and was like, hey, everybody clean the house, hurry. She's on her way. They heard the garage door open. We're like, oh my god, clean up. Because the TV was on.
To me, there's some kind of benefit to that, though, too, because I had a greater sense of self and I have more independence. My kids are still really dependent on me. It's one of Cause's biggest beefs with me right now. It's like they still ask me if this is where to put something, or I don't know if it's them trying to get me to do it or not. Like, I know
Right.
all kids test and do.
Yeah.
But my kids are way more dependent on me than I was on my mom.
Yeah,
And
same here.
and that's like kind of the same knife, two sides. It's tough for me because I want them to be more independent. I want them to trust their own instincts and make their own decisions. But at the same time, I want to have like a really close relationship with them and be there for them and be supportive. And that line's getting super blurry for me right now.
It is kind of hard because, our girls want to separate rooms, right? They've shared rooms their whole life. And now Georgia's 13. She wants her own room. And I'm like, awesome. I'm not doing it for you. You're going to I'll help you. But I'm not just going to do it for you. So here's the things that need to happen so that this can happen. And she's not doing them. So I'm like, what's the deal? Do you not want to separate? Oh, I absolutely want to separate. I totally do. Okay, but you're not doing anything. But
so where
there's
is she stuck?
She said there's just too much to do. And I went, okay, then let's break it down. Let's say clean off your desk. Here's one thing. Clean out there's hooks behind their door. Clean off the hooks behind your door. Just do one thing a day. Will not do it. I'll remind her every day. You want to do that one thing? You don't have to do it every day. Every other day, like baby steps.
Maybe it's not her thing. Like, I love doing that, and I love organizing and make it.
Right.
But Benny is not.
Right.
So I had to help along. Gabriella is, so she can go in and do it.
Right.
So maybe she just feels like she doesn't know. I don't know.
I don't know either.
Yeah.
It's a hard thing to figure out.
I can't
Does
wait
that go-
because Isla's so like on it. She's gonna get all of Georgia's shit and just throw it in her room. And
I
be
know.
done
I
with
was
it.
like,
I'm done.
TikTok, baby, TikTok. When am I
Get
painting
out.
this
Get
room?
out of my room.
I know, she keeps saying, I want these pictures down. I want this moved. And I'm like, listen, I can only do one room at a time. I can't redo your room until the stuff from Georgia is in her room. So one thing at a time. You're right. Isla's like, TikTok,
I can
baby.
only imagine.
You're the one that pulled the trigger. She's so funny, Isla, because Georgia came to me and she was like, I really want to separate rooms. I said, okay, well, let me tell Isla. Let's like break the news. Because like 6 months ago, Isla came out of her room crying at night saying, oh, George is not going to want to share rooms with me anymore, and I don't want her to move out. And she was very emotional about it.
So sweet.
So I was like, oh God, this is going to be emotional for Isla. So I tell Isla, and she says, okay, I understand. I get it. So she goes back, they go back to bed, and I hear them debating. And I said, you guys need to figure out amongst yourselves who has which room, because the room they're currently in is in the front of our house, has great light, and it's bigger. And the other one is like small window, smaller room, definitively less exciting of a room, right? So Georgia goes, well, I should get the big room. So I'm the oldest. I should get the big room. And Isla went, no. I'm in the living room listening to this and went, I didn't choose to move. You chose to move. So if you're choosing to move, you choose to move.
Holy
this is my
moly.
room. I went,
Wow.
oh my God. You may have a little too much of your mama.
No,
too much. And Georgia, the next day, I just left it because I was letting them figure it out. And the next day I asked Georgia, I said, what do you think? Do you want to, do you need me to help you stay in this room, or do you want to move rooms? She said, I thought about it. I think I'm going to take the smaller room. And I was like, I'll be dang.
Great.
Wow.
Isla made a point she couldn't argue with, I guess. You're the one that wants to move.
Yeah.
I don't want
Talk
to move.
about a great sense of self. That's impressive.
Isla's always had a great sense
It
of
would have
self.
taken me a couple of days to figure that out.
I don't know. That's
Wait a minute.
never been Isla's
Wait a minute.
problem. Isla's problem is reading. It's not sense of self, who she is. Funny. Like a friend treats her bad, and she will come home and go, that's not a nice person, and I think I'm good. I don't think I need to hang out with that person anymore.
Good for her.
And she'll say it respectfully to that
Yeah.
person, I'm going to hang out over here now. She's never mean. And I have just always been blocked. She's been that way since she was really little.
That's so cool.
It
Thank
is
God
really
she
cool.
figured that out so quickly.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I still have
Yeah,
that
right,
figured
right.
out.
She's good now. She does, if it's a friend that she's been with for a while and the friend starts acting differently, which happens, she has a harder time with that. But like if she meets somebody new, she can like suss it out. You're not my kind. I'm cool. I'm good. So I mean, it's good, but anyway.
So George still hasn't moved.
George still hasn't moved, and it's a disaster. Like I did what you're talking about 2 weekends ago. I went, okay, let's all go in this room and get this started. Let's go. So we got all these things started, and then I can't get them back in there to finish it. Let's go finish it. Let's go finish. And we're also so busy with other things, it's so fits and starts that we can't really get any traction.
Right.
I can't get any momentum. So
You need like a whole day.
I need a couple days for
Dedicated to just
Yeah,
that.
to just that. Like we were supposed to do it Saturday night because Isla had play practice and then she was going to a birthday party. But then Gabby's movie night came up, and of course I'm not going to say, no, we had decided to stay home and work on your room. I wanted her to go hang out with Gabby and all the girls.
You didn't want to become Queen Victoria? You're like,
You will comply. No. I was like, well, that's what she should be doing, is hanging out with her friends on a Saturday night, and she didn't want to clean her room with me. And then we, sold Girl Scout cookies literally all day yesterday. So yesterday was gone, like from 10 a.m. to 4.
Right.
And then we went to dinner at a friend's house. So
and if anyone hasn't seen the digital George's Cookie World
yes,
on Facebook, that was
Yes.
awesome.
And Isla has one too. They both have a
Yeah, I
digital.
couldn't figure out how to do it. I just gave up. My brain shut down.
I need to get on that.
That's awesome. It's easy. Just copy paste.
I need to put it on the list of items.
I couldn't even figure out how to
Yeah,
register.
I know, right? Can't figure out how to register.
I'm done.
If it takes me more than like a minute and a half, I'm done. Like I look at it, I'm like, I get this. I'll do it later.
Our attention span is for shit now, I think.
It wouldn't take my email or something. I'm like, what? That's your problem.
Right?
Right. You're making this too hard on me. I'm out.
Forget you, Girl Scouts. You have enough money.
I don't need cookies.
$6
Nobody
million.
needs
Did you guys
cookies.
see that? $6 million a year they raise in Girl Scout cookies.
Do they?
Yeah. That's what I read on a thing. Yeah.
Wow.
And then there's the whole how the Girl Scouts sell the cookies. Big thing that's up in arrears now.
What is it?
Oh,
I don't know
outside the
what
pot
it is.
shops.
Oh, with the pot
Pot
shops?
shops.
Oh, yeah. The pot shops. Yeah, they're not supposed to do that.
But there's
people
rules
do.
that I didn't even know about. Like, I didn't know, like, you couldn't be on your Land? What's the deal?
You can be on the land, right?
You can only, like, if you're, they call it boothing. So if you're selling Girl Scout cookies, it's called boothing.
So if you set up a table.
If you
and
set
you're
up a table,
stationary.
that's boothing.
That's
You can-
stationary.
Right.
That's
the key.
stationary, yes. You can booth on your own property without permission from the Girl Scouts. You can also put stuff in a wagon and drag it up and down the street. In your neighborhood, you're not supposed to go into someone else's neighborhood. You're supposed to stay
Nobody's
in
going
your
to tell me I
neighborhood.
can't sell cookies in Beverly Hills because they buy cookies like nobody buys
Yeah,
cookies.
right? Oh, we
Yeah.
take our cookies all the way down to Bert's management company's office.
Yeah,
down, by
everybody
the airport.
sells them at their offices and stuff.
Yes. Well, I think that may be different. I think they
I
mean
don't
like
do
to
that
load up your
personally, though.
wagon and go to physically go to another neighborhood and pull
Okay.
your wagon up and down the street.
Yeah, you're not supposed to do
You're
that.
not supposed to do that. And then you're not supposed to to booth at a place of business unless that place of business has gone through the vetting process with Girl Scouts. So you can't just walk over to Minchie's and put a table out.
That sounds discriminatory to me.
There's people at Barnes
It's
and Noble.
regulatory is what it is. They're very regulatory. There's so many rules with Girl Scouts that it's almost prohibitive. Like to be, because I've been a leader now for 7 years, and the paperwork alone is so exhausting. It makes you not want to do anything extracurricular. And I'm trying to book camping sites for, oh my God, for Girl Scouts, like Girl Scouts own properties where you can go camping. I can't get them booked ever. They're like, well, you can have one day, but not the next day. And then the next day you have to move to this other place. And it's just so tedious that it makes you not want to do it. I was
like
just, never mind.
LAUSD with my bake sale on Thursdays. I have to have my feet on the cement to sell my bake sale goods. I cannot be
On the grass.
the table can be on the grass in front of the school, but my feet as the seller has to be on the public sidewalk.
That is the most ridiculous
and I'm giving
thing.
all the money to the school.
That's the
ridiculous.
most ridiculous
I
thing I
know.
have ever heard. Are you kidding?
No.
That's so stupid.
And then
I don't even have any words. There's no words coming out of my mouth. My brain just froze. Are you kidding me?
And I can't have cupcakes with frosting.
Wait, what?
What?
What? Who eats cupcakes without frosting?
That's just called
They have a list of things I can
that's just a
sell.
little
Are
cake.
you-
then.
But
It's
I'm
not
on
a
public
cupcake.
property. But they can tell me what I can and cannot sell because the lunch ladies regulate what I can and cannot.
Oh,
you
lunch ladies
kidding?
scare me.
Yeah.
Lunch ladies are like.
My dad's
they're
married to a lunch
scary.
lady.
Your
Oh
dad's
my
Not
God.
married,
guy.
but he's common law married to a
Wait,
lunch
I
lady.
had no idea. I hadn't
The
heard
principal
story yet.
actually comes out to make sure that the table's positioned in
Right.
the right spot.
You know what?
Our
Guess
feet
what?
are on the
What
cement.
No
police?
bake sale.
What
No bake
police
sale.
is driving by to arrest somebody for a bake sale table
It's not
in
the
wrong
police,
damn
it's the
place?
lunch ladies that come out and
It's
look.
the lunch ladies. They seriously. What are they gonna do?
They're
What are
going
they
to tell
gonna
the
do?
principal that I'm breaking the rules.
I'm
And what
telling
is she
you,
gonna
Breaking
do?
the law.
Those
Breaking
lunch
the
Come
law.
down hard on
ladies.
me.
The lunch ladies in the student store, there's a complete racket going on.
Oh, there's
at
a
that
big
school.
racket.
What's the racket?
They, I guess, don't give change. So if you don't have exact change, then they'll keep it.
They keep the money.
That's
Yeah.
called stealing.
That's called stealing.
They were. I mean, they figured it all out, and now they can't do it anymore. But they racked up a lot of money.
Drake came home and said he bought a bag of Cheetos. Number one, why are you buying Cheetos? You're in trouble now. Number
Right.
two, they wouldn't give me any change, Mom.
Yeah.
I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Welcome to LAU.
That's and I. And
I know, right?
the land of the damned.
The land of the damned.
That's all that extra funds that they have. That's why our school is just swimming in extracurricular activities in the arts and computer labs and science.
Because of the lunch ladies are procuring extra money and
The lunch ladies are wearing Gucci.
I know. I'm sure they're putting it back into the school program, right?
Right.
They're donating to the bake sale, right?
Right.
Oh my
I
god!
can't believe you want to raise money for them. And
I'm not raising money for the lunch ladies. I
No,
am raising
thank
money
you.
for
the
For the
school.
school, right.
Right.
but like, do you still want to do it?
Yeah, I do because I
God,
know
you're so
my
much
money.
nicer than me.
I
right?
know the money's going towards the Humanities Academy, and it's going towards field trips and buses and all that stuff.
Right.
They just make it harder on me to do.
Wow, you're
They
a
make it
way
absurd.
better person than me.
Yeah.
That's absurd.
Well, I would just be done.
It's after school. It's not during school hours, which makes it even more ridiculous.
Yeah.
It is ridiculous because the principal at Colfax let us sell Girl Scout cookies on the lawn out as long as we
Yes,
were
she
not
did.
inside the fence.
Yep.
She was like, put it wherever you want. It just has to be outside of the actual fenced-in school property.
They don't have lunch ladies at Colfax.
They do, but they're actually really nice. And they
Someone
make
should
it-
write a script called Lunch Lady.
ladies.
Lunch Lady. She take her ruler and measure
Lunch
how
lady's
far your
gone
table
bad.
is off her sidewalk.
Right.
Lunch lady's gone bad, man.
Her net hair cap.
Right. Cupcakes with no icing.
God.
Okay, so now the lunch ladies can't listen to this podcast,
I
or
don't think
Mrs.
they are.
Washington.
I know Mrs. Washington.
Mrs. Washington.
Do you know Mrs. Washington was my junior high PE teacher?
Was she?
Oh my God.
Old as dirt, that woman.
Thank
She's
you.
old as dirt. No, not because of you. She just is. She's been there forever.
Dude, I'm old enough. And yeah, she's been there. She was but we were talking about beautiful black people. She was the most beautiful young woman.
Was she?
Striking. Still hard as nails, toe to line.
Really?
Man, you knew when she meant it, but beautiful woman. Yeah.
Wow.
And she really does love the kids. She
I
really
like
does.
her. I like her for the bad rap that she gets.
She holds them
Does
accountable.
Gab have her?
No.
She just gives them too much homework.
Well,
all. They're
homework
just
and PE is
it's
stupid
ridiculous.
anyways.
That's another ridiculous thing.
Don't even.
Isla's doing like an hour and a half of homework in PE every week. And I'm like, the kid's freaking dyslexic. Does she really have to
Right.
read a 10-page chapter about physical fitness and then answer 15 questions?
Benny has that down.
Come on. Does she have Miss Rivera?
Here's your PE homework. Sit on your ass and read instead of running around.
Oh, that's a
That
good
makes
point.
sense.
That is a good point.
Kathy,
I'm like,
that's a really good point.
Aren't you
Does
supposed
that
to be
make sense?
fit?
No.
No.
Biggest stress I had in PE was a freaking pull-ups because I've never been able to do a pull-up in my life.
Oh, God.
That whole like state thing where you have to run a certain way, length, and do the sit-ups and how many pull-ups can you do, and I failed.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they're doing now is if you don't run a mile in 8 minutes, then you don't get an A. And I think that's ridiculous. I think if you start off at like, running a 10-minute mile and the next time it's a little less than 10 minutes, that's great. You just show improvement. But to ask these kids to...
I just think PE should be participatory. I don't
I do
think
too. I think-
grading
yeah.
somebody's ability.
Right.
It's like
Yeah.
asking an elephant to fly and
Right.
grading it. I mean, that's just
Yeah.
crazy.
Right.
It's a
As long as you're
pass-fail.
trying hard and you're improving.
Yeah. I
Yeah, I'm
think
with
it's a
you.
pass.
There you
It should be a pass-fail.
Yeah, I
Are you
agree.
participating? You're a pass.
Right.
Are you not participating? You're a fail.
Guess what? Yeah.
I mean, I have to say, she in September was running a 14-minute mile. Yes, I said running a 14-minute mile. Now she's running like almost an 8-minute mile.
Wow.
Which is a huge improvement.
That's a huge improvement.
But guess what her grade was on her almost 8-minute mile? It was a D.
That's a D.
It was a D. And I was like, but she started at 14. That should be an A for her. That's a huge,
yeah.
crazy.
So I think that that the girls had it figured out, and the first mile they ran was rather slow because by 8th grade they've got it figured out. But my little 6th grader, who's the overachiever in PE, ran as fast as he could the first time.
Oh my God.
No, we're
Set
down
himself
with that,
up
right?
For a
Aw.
semester of pain.
Oh my God.
He's such a good kid. Oh my gosh. That's so cute.
He is a good kid.
I'm not so sure he can improve on his time.
Well, it'd be hard to improve if you start at the top. Let's see, where do you go from there?
I'm sure he'll figure it out for next year.
So, ladies, let's wrap up this podcast. It's been about an hour, right? Did we learn anything? I don't know if we learned anything.
We're all kind of going through the same stuff. I think the similarities is it's a good thing to know, not feeling alone. I mean, being a parent's hard enough. Knowing that we're all going through the same crazy shit makes it better, right?
Yes.
Is teenage years harder than toddler years for you guys?
It's
No.
more
No,
it's more complicated, but it's less work.
you can leave him at home.
They poop on their
yeah.
own.
No, tell me, Margaret. What?
No, I think it's the toddler years or the baby years or whatever are much more physical.
Yeah.
But now it's more emotional
Yeah.
and
Mental.
with the teenagers. So there's easier things now. But then there's harder things too. I think our kids need us more now than they did maybe when they were littler.
Definitely in bigger ways.
I think
I
in
think
a
so,
different
too.
way, too. I
Yeah.
read something somewhere about this age group needing a parent to be an air fern. They need to know where you are, and they need to know how to find you. But that their job right now is to figure out who they are, and they have to do that on their own. So in being an air fern, they always know you're there. But they were like, in this same article, or I don't remember where I read it. It wasn't in the book Untangled we read about raising teenage girls, but
I didn't read
it
that.
was before.
Oh, you should read it.
Oh,
It's
amazing.
fantastic.
Okay, cool.
It was so enlightening. Have you read that book,
No,
Margaret?
I'll have to get that.
It's called Untangled. It's on my website. There's a link to it on my website because I literally was like, everybody that has a teenage daughter should be reading this book.
It's wonderful.
It was amazing. It was written by a female child psychologist who works at an all-girls school here in LA somewhere. And she wrote the book about what goes on from like age 11 on for teenage girls.
Oy.
And there were a lot of great tools, you know, in that book. Like one of the most important things is, you know, Georgia gets really testy about once a month, right around her period. And her dad starts coming unraveled when she starts getting testy. We're losing her. I mean, this last month, he's like, we're losing her. We're losing her. We're definitely losing her. How do we reach her? And I keep going, babe, she's just being 13. You know, in this book Untangled, she said the Rorschach test, the ink blot test, they give people that when they give them to this age group of girls, they come back as psychotic adults.
Oh, how funny.
So their brains are actually psychotic.
Right.
So if you can just remember, oh no, she's actually psychotic in the brain,
Right.
then maybe all this stuff that's going on is okay. You know, it's not abnormal that she's screaming that I hate her.
You don't take it so personally.
Exactly.
Just kind of take a step back a little bit, which is really hard to do.
It's really hard to do, not to take it personally. But like, I was asking Georgia about her interview for Louisville, and I was like, "Have you practiced your interview?" And she's like, "No." And I was like, "Well, I think you should practice." Well, I've already done one with Miss Gamba, and I went, "But that's not the same. That's one, and Miss Gamba already knows you. You've already been in her office and talked to her about Girl Scout stuff. It's not the same. You should talk to somebody." And I just kind of left it, and then I kept going back, and he want to talk to somebody. You don't need to talk to me. You can talk to your dad. You've got 2 aunts that live here. You've got a Girl Scout troop leader. You've got a myriad of moms that would like fake interview with you. Nope. And then one day she said somebody was over, and she said in front of this other adult, she goes, "I don't want to work on it with you because all you do is tell me what I do wrong." And I went, "Oh my God, I didn't know that I made you feel that way. I am so sorry." And I walked in the other room and said to Bert, "This is what Georgia just said to me." And he went, "Oh, she's out of her fucking mind. You don't ever tell her what to do. You don't ever tell her she's doing things wrong. She just wants you out of her business." And I was like, "Okay, I'm out of her business. I'll just let her do whatever." And I was like, I'm just going to write down some sample questions someone would probably say in an interview. Do with them what you will. This is for you, but let me just give you this so you can start thinking about these questions. And she did great on her interview, but boy, she was not going to get any help. And you're thinking, you're crazy. You've put all your eggs in this one basket for this one school. Why wouldn't you do everything you needed to do to make that work? But
man, to have a mom and appreciate a mom that's willing to, you know, help you so much.
Yeah.
You know, my mom was too busy to help in that way. I would have loved her to like jump
That's like
in.
your perspective, and you appreciate it because you didn't have it.
Exactly.
But she's always had it. So it's just something she takes for granted.
or maybe she does feel like I always tell her what she's doing wrong.
Which has nothing to do with you, by the way.
It's nothing to do with me because I'm saying, hey, if you want to spread peanut butter on a piece of bread, maybe you should use a butter knife and not a steak knife. Just saying.
Well,
you know,
this is the time
you
where
rip the bread up.
they're really like starting to define who they are and how they want to do things.
right.
I remember I really had to push, and I think it's really normal and typical to push away from the parents so we can feel our own independence.
Right.
And it takes sometimes a harder push than just not being there anymore. It's like they physically have to separate from us.
Yeah, they do. That's what they're supposed to be. It said so in that book.
It does say so in that book.
It does. It says when they go off in the
Do
room.
I still have to read it? No, I'm kidding.
Yes, you,
You do.
do.
You do. There's lots. Tatum wouldn't let me help her with her interviewing either at all.
No.
It was like, no, I've got this. I don't need your help. And we got into a huge battle afterwards because after her interview, I said, oh, so how did it go? You know, I'm an interested mom who's going to be forking over some serious cash to pay for your private school. You're not going to our local school where you're going to mix with the general population. And she would not tell me. It was fine. So I
maybe
let it
they
go.
just wanted to achieve it for themselves. Sorry,
think
to
so.
cut you off.
No, I think you're right. And I even tried the back door. I was like, Leanne, ask Georgia to see how they
Didn't work.
No.
Nope. Didn't
Nope.
work. Totally fail. Mission scrub.
Yeah,
Wow.
it was fine.
But I tell you, Bert got all freaked out last month because Georgia was, we're losing her. Look at her. She's pushing back. I've lost my little girl. I'll never have a relationship with her again because she's talking to me this way. And I'm like,
I
she's
love that
getting
he cares about
I
that.
know.
period.
It's so
But part
sweet.
of that book says that they have to know that you can handle rejection so that they can reject you and know that they're still safe. So if you can't handle the rejection, Bert Kreischer, then what does that teach her about men? Like they're not safe. They can't handle my emotions. They can't handle which are normal emotions. She's not like cutting herself or doing anything crazy. She's just being a bit moody and she's pushing back some. So I am in therapy and I go to my therapist and I'm leaving and Bert goes, I need you to ask Dr. Jackie if this is normal or if we need to get her in therapy. We need some counseling. And I was like, it's normal. I read this book. I believe everything's normal. But she gave me some really great questions I thought was really cool, some good tools. She said, is she completing her schoolwork? Yes. Is she still asking to hang out with her friends? Yes. Is she eating on a regular basis? Doesn't have to be eating a lot, but is she eating regularly? Yes. Is she harming herself in any way? Pulling out her hair is the first thing kids do when they are not feeling good. It's not cutting is like extreme. She said they start pulling their hair out. No. So she's like, if you answer all those questions, yes, 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 and then no, she's fine. Everything below that is typical. Even if she's screaming at you, even if she says she hates you, even if she doesn't come out of her room for days because she's brooding over something, if she's still doing her homework, if she still wants to hang out with her friends, if she's still eating her meals, and if she's not pulling her hair out or biting her fingernails off till they bleed, she's fine. So I was like, what a great barometer to go, okay, I can ask those questions and go, she's fine. Everything
That's
else
very
is just
interesting.
normal
Yeah,
13-year-old behavior.
so
Good
easy
to know.
And it's pretty easy.
And when they're this age, they do that. They push away from you, and then they'll come back.
Yeah.
And it'll be a fleeting, and you'll be trying to hold on to them, and then they'll leave again.
Yeah.
I've heard it. You said air plant. I've heard a potted plant, but the same thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like the parent should be the potted plant. You're there. They know where you are. They know how to get to you, and when they need you or want you. But that's it.
Right.
You're not as opposed to the helicopter parents.
Right.
That's
Right.
so. I thought that was really true.
I think it is
They
true.
Know where you are and when to come get you if needed.
Yeah, I think the theory of the airplane is they don't have to do anything to nurture
Oh,
you.
right. I like that.
You,
yeah.
You just live on air.
Yeah.
As far as they're concerned.
Yeah.
They don't
What,
need
an
to care for
airplane?
you.
You know how airplanes don't need
fern.
What's an
She
airplane?
said
Airplane
fern,
don't
air
need
plant.
soil. They just
Like
need
those
a little bit of water.
bromeliads, the things that just like grow on the trees, and they just
They
suck
don't-
all
they're
the
easy. They don't need much.
nutrients
I have one in
out
my
of the
kitchen. I'll show
air.
it to
I
you.
never knew it was called an air plant. This is an educational podcast.
I know it is an educational podcast. We have an air plant in my kitchen because Bert got really lonely on the road and decided he needed a mascot. So he bought an air plant as a pet that he took on the road, but then he got tired of having to spray it when he got on the road. So I ended up with the pet. Its name is Da-da-la-da-da.
How about a rock?
Again, I have no words because there's so many levels on that. It's ridiculous.
He goes,
"Oh my god!"
I can no longer care for Da-da-la-da-da. Can we keep Da-da-la-da-da home? Isla named it.
The thing that doesn't need caring, he can't care for.
That's hysterical. I never made the connection. You're
That's
right.
what I'm looking at going, "Oh my god, do you hear what you're saying?"
Yeah, he can't even care for an airplane. It's so accurate too. That is so exactly Bert Kreischer.
Oh my god, Bert, we love you.
We do. Thank God he has a wife, right? I don't know what he would do without me.
That doesn't need spraying.
I'm an airplane for him too. So I should be really good at it for my teenagers. I'm
Right.
well practiced, right?
Bert's gonna be so happy that the last thing we talk about is him.
Well, always. He doesn't think I talk about him enough. And in the first episode, I kept getting these comments that kept going, yeah, less of Bert. Yeah, can we have less of Bert?
More Leanne, less Bert.
Bert talks too much. He talks about himself, and every time you would start talking about something, he'd bring it back to him. Just bring it back to Bert. But,
Have you met Bert?
I know, right? It's part
But
of
he's so
part of the
charming
package.
in the way that he does it, because it's not like it's look at me. He's just sharing. He's got a lot of experience to share, and he's got a lot of insights and perspectives. My thing was so funny is he wanted it to be so good for you that he kept like just trying to help you.
I know, but I didn't need help.
I know.
I don't need help. But yeah, Bert's like 9 years old in that way, where 9-year-old boys are very self-focused and they're very like, but I was the best on the soccer team, but I was the first one they picked. That's just who he is.
But I like that he admits it. He's like, yeah,
Right.
that's me.
He's very aware of it.
Yeah, he's cool.
For sure. He's very self-correcting too, because he'll get in that path and then all of a sudden he'll go, wait a minute, I actually am being really self-focused. So what do you need?
Oh, that's cool.
We had a date and we were just dating early on with 2 of my really close friends, and I swear to God, Bert did not draw breath. He talked from the minute he sat down until the minute we let. Nobody talked but Bert. We went to Indian food. I'll never forget it. When the date was over, he was like, "That was an amazing date. I love your friends." And I went, "I'm so surprised. Do you remember their names? Because you never stopped talking, and neither of them said a word all night." And he went, "Really? I didn't notice." I was like, "Because you didn't fucking shut up. Sometimes you need to listen. You can't get to know people if you don't listen." He was like, "Yeah, I don't really understand that concept at all. I just think everybody wants to get to know me."
He's just happy to share himself with them.
He's happy to share himself with the world, yes. Well, ladies, thank you for coming and
This was
talking
really
on my
fun.
podcast. Was it fun?
Yes.
Did you have
Thank you
fun?
for having us.
I had fun.
Yeah.
So we'll come again.
Yes,
You guys come
for
back
sure.
again.
And there's lots of topics we can cover.
So many. So think
Well,
of
let's see if
some.
people hate us first.
Okay.
Nobody's going to hate anybody. Halston will tell us when the mic's off if we did okay.
Maybe
Okay.
we should ask what they want to hear from us.
I would like that.
Yeah.
Yes. What would they like to hear us talk about?
Yeah.
I've
Do
gotten
you want to
some.
see who picks up their children in Los Angeles? It's rather interesting.
All right. I know some people, I have the most requests I have so far, which I find really fascinating, is most people want me to have a conversation about addiction.
Oh, interesting.
And I, okay. But I feel like I need to have somebody.
Addicted?
Well, I
was
may
married-
live with somebody
I
who
was-
might be slightly addicted, but
I was married to an addict for years. I have a huge history of AA and codependence and
do
all
you
of
really?
Recovered codependent. That's what my therapist said. Last thread of codependency gone. We'll see.
Well, then maybe you'll come back and talk to me, because I really did. I had a time period. I started drinking when I was 14, and I drank very heavily until I was 21. And I drank so much that my sorority recommended that I go to rehab, that I lost my hair, and that I had an inflamed liver by the
Oh,
time I was
goodness.
20. So I drank 6 days a week,
Putting it away.
every
We're
single
putting
week,
it away, man.
because I didn't know how to manage my emotions.
Yeah.
So when I lost my hair, you would think that would make me stop drinking. It
Made
did
you
not.
drink more.
It did not. I woke up one morning having driven myself home, not knowing where my car keys were. The car parked in Atlanta, door open, purse in the parking lot. That didn't wake me up either. I got arrested for drunk driving. Not a wake-up call. I did have a wake-up call, which was interesting, and that became my path. I guess you could call it recovery, although I never called myself an addict, because I think I had a different... My drinking was about pain.
You're self-medicating. To me, there's a difference between being an addict and self-medicating.
100%. So maybe on another podcast, let's talk about that. I'll find somebody else who wants to talk about it. Maybe an expert. Maybe someone who deals with addicts and an expert.
Dr. Drew.
Yeah, I know. I would love to
I
have
love Dr. Drew.
I do too, but I don't know if that, I don't know if my podcast is big enough for Dr. Drew.
Oh.
We'll see.
No.
But I don't know. I'll find somebody, because that's been the most consistent. Is will you talk about addiction?
They say what
That's
kind
so
of addiction?
interesting.
Dude,
no,
it's a
there's
struggle.
no specificity. Just addiction.
Video games.
There's so many
like
different
all kinds
kinds.
of- right.
Sex, food,
Right.
Food, yeah.
praise,
Social media.
social media, praise, being
Yeah.
addicted to being praised, or like
That's
an
a new
ego
one.
addiction.
Never heard about
Right.
There's so many. So I definitely had a stint where if I had not had a wake up call, I probably would have been dead.
that. So that would have been your hit bottom. That's the term
The
AA
dead?
uses. Hit bottom.
You mean being dead, or where my wake up call?
Your wake up call would be like the worst point, the lowest point you got, and then you like had to do something to change.
Yeah, I think I had a lowest part. I did. We should talk about it on a different podcast.
Okay.
I'm starting a
also,
whole new
like,
podcast.
I was just thinking suicide with these teen suicides we're hearing about a lot. You know, that's never been something we grew up with, and so it's so new to me. So I'd like to hear what's going on.
That's
Right.
we were just talking about that, and I was, my husband disagrees with me a little bit, but I was saying that in case everybody doesn't know, there's been a few recent suicides by young people, 8th graders and
In our area.
young high
Yeah.
school kids in our area. And I was saying, when I was young, I never, ever, like, it wasn't an option. You just didn't even hear about it.
No.
Yeah, people OD'd,
Right, but
but people did not kill themselves. They didn't.
Different
especially
than writing a note and
children.
deciding you're going to die.
Well,
yeah.
and you could blame it on social media, but I was on a high school website just checking out the school, and on the front page they had all this, like, they were flaunting how much suicide awareness they had, that they have special classes and things for kids who want to commit suicide or thinking
Was this
about
recently?
it. Yes. And so, but like a month ago. So I thought, wow, I've never seen that on a school website before, a high school website. And I thought, that's really interesting that they felt strong enough, because it's a really highly academic school, that they felt like they had to put that on the front page of their website about their school.
Yeah.
Like, it must be a problem at this school because they demand so much from
You have to tell me
these
later what
kids.
school that is.
Is it a very competitive academic school that's at the base of the hill?
Yes.
At the base of the hill. I
But
don't
one of both our girls got into.
Bum, bum, bum.
pass. Hard
That's what I thought.
Oh, no, that's not the one I was thinking of. Mm-hmm. I did hear the other day that the other one that I was thinking of has the highest suicide rate.
That's a
Which
private
is-
school, though.
Yes.
Right? Yeah,
Yeah,
that
this-
private school I knew had the highest suicide
Yes,
rate.
and I'm sorry, but why should there be a highest suicide rate in high school?
Highest, like that they're
That's like there should be
Great.
even a
Like there's
ranking.
more
That's
than one.
ridiculous.
Right. And they'll, is it because we're demanding they take these AP classes, and kids are comparing each other and, all that stuff we never had. Did you guys take any AP classes?
So many
No,
topics to talk about.
so many.
Right.
I know. Having a dyslexic kid, you lower your expectations for every kid. Because I go to Georgia, are you doing your best? Yes, I'm done.
Right.
I don't really need you to do anything more than your best.
Right.
And if your best rates you an A or a B or a C, I don't give a shit. Is it your best? And I can tell by the look on your face whether you are doing your best. And I don't need her to go to AP classes. I need her to learn something she's interested in learning and do her best at that. Because, I don't know. I think that's the way to approach it. But having a dyslexic kid, she is never going to perform like her peers. Ever.
She's
And
going to perform differently.
Exactly.
But she's going to excel at some other things.
But if I told her you have to be in these AP classes and your sister has to be in these AP classes, so then that's the environment
God, I
I
don't
put her
care
in.
about
I
AP
can't.
classes.
Well,
I can't
the
do
only
that to
thing
Isla
AP
either.
classes get you is less college,
Right.
right? So college is going
So
to be
who gives a
less
shit?
expensive. Who gives a shit? And you should have 4 fun years of college. You're going to have to work. Why try get out of college early?
No, they
Why?
get you,
to
they
go
get
to
you a higher
work that you're going to have to work
GPA.
for the rest of your life?
They get you a higher GPA so you can get into that college. Like that gentleman we were speaking to yesterday, his daughter had a 4.7.
I know. I almost fell out of my pants.
I
was
don't
like,
even
how
want
do you make
I don't want my daughter to have a
4.7?
4.7.
No.
I don't want my daughter to have to do the work it's going to take
No.
to get to a 4.7 and not have
Unless she
a
wants
fun-
to.
Unless that's
How
who
do you
she
get
is.
7/10 more than 100?
AP classes.
AP classes? That's how you do it?
Yeah.
See, I'm
Unless
ignorant.
you want to go to an Ivy League school. I mean, like, if you really want to be that person and you want to go to Harvard, or you want to be a doctor or a neurosurgeon or something, if a kid really wants to know what they want to do, then yeah. But Elizabeth, like, she just wants to be in plays right now. She doesn't want to sell cookies and she wants to be in plays.
Right.
That's where my daughter is right now.
Tatum wants to swim and talk about boys.
Cool.
Georgia wants to write in her journal and read books.
Gabriella wants to draw
Oh, she's good.
Awesome.
And swim.
and swim.
Her
but I
synchro is
think
cool.
Drawing is a lot higher, right?
Yeah, musical
fantastic.
theater is like my daughter's world.
All right, so people listening, if there's any topics you would like talked about on this podcast, just email me. You can go to wifeotp.com and there's a contact page, and I get that email directly. So wifeotp.com. Thanks for listening, and thank you, ladies, for talking.
Thank you.
Until
Thank you for
next
inviting us.
time.
It was like a
right?
good therapy session here.
Exactly.